Transfiguration movement. Number 27, Transfigure, with Triumphant Truth by Mikhail Korbanyahu. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel said, "The world is sustained by three things: by justice, by truth, and by peace. As it has been said, speak every man the truth to his neighbor, execute the judgment of truth, and peace in your gates." Zechariah 8, verse 16 from Pirkei Avot. The Torah is not merely a collection of procedures designed to regulate life and ensure the efficient functioning of society, but rather a reflection of the attempt to arrive at absolute truth and to build and sustain a unique and holy nation. Introduction to Sanhedrin in the Talmud. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Psalm 85, verse 11. Truth is not trending. And let's be honest with ourselves about where we are right now. Given the present trajectory of events, it's blatantly apparent that the world is out of alignment. And the world is out of alignment simply because truth has been exiled, not hidden, ignored, not forgotten, left, basically straight up rejected. The social, political, spiritual, and even familial breakdown we see around us directly results from a society that has normalized falsehood, justified bias, and crowned personal perspective as if they were sacred. In this present darkness, people don't want the truth, not because it's unavailable, but because it conflicts with what they've already decided they want to believe and do. So now what takes place with people is they substitute revelation with opinion. We trade wisdom for data and confuse feeling right with being righteous. No more is it what's right, but who's right. Given our present conditions, I submit that it's really not that hard for us to imagine a society where truth is no longer a shared standard, but a personal commodity, because the fact of the matter is, we're here. But humor me for a moment and consider the following. So, if everyone has their own truth, then there is no such thing as deception, just difference. In relationships, there's no more betrayal, only misunderstood boundaries. In business, it wouldn't be fraud, just alternative accounting. In the court of law, justice becomes impossible because facts can be contested by feelings. If truth is relative, trust evaporates. Contracts mean nothing, commitments lose weight, dialogue devolves into debate, and moral clarity is replaced by cultural convenience. This is the chaos of a world where no one can be held accountable because everyone is right in their own eyes. And without a foundation of truth, society collapses under the weight of its own self-deception. This is the problem that always caused Israel to return to formlessness and void, as shown in Judges 12:21, verse 25. In those days, there was no sovereign in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. So basically, to do what is right in our own eyes means to operate from a place where personal perspective trumps intuitive instruction. It's not that people stop making moral decisions. Rather, they just stop using the Most High standard to make them. Truth becomes internalized, not as revelation from above, but as an opinion from within. The result is moral chaos dressed in the language of personal freedom. But Israel's structure was never designed to survive without a sovereign, a king, a melech in Hebrew, whose authority flowed from Torah and was overseen by the Levites. In Hebrew understanding, the role of a king wasn't just political, it was deeply prophetic. The king was the visible standard bearer of the Torah's truth, the embodiment of righteousness, justice, and covenantal order. Where there is no melech, there is no truth. And when there's no truth, people are governed by emotion, impulse, and ego. Hence, we find the proverb found in chapter 29, verse 18 to be apropos. Where there is no vision, The people are let loose. But blessed is he who guards the Torah. See, family, truth in its raw, unfiltered, eternal form offends people. Bob Marley sang so prophetically in the song Jah Live that the truth is an offense, but not a sin. Why? Because truth demands accountability. It doesn't bend to preference. It doesn't adjust to your trauma. It doesn't validate dysfunction, which is a big problem for a generation that has been raised on self-affirmation rather than self-confrontation. A modern worship of relativity, established upon the belief of what's true for me may not be true for you, has eroded our moral foundation and robbed us of the very thing that can bring us back into heavenly alignment. This is because without truth, there is no order. Without truth, there is no justice. Without truth, there is no light. And when there is no light, there is no life. But how did we get here? Historically, the pursuit of truth was noble, sacred even. The earliest sciences weren't divorced from spirit. They were birthed from the quest to know. Real science, I'm talking about original, organic, ancestral science, was not cold observation, but lived revelation. In the African ancestral paradigm, knowledge was the result of close communion with nature, spirit, and community. Information was gathered through observation. Observation gave way to experience. Experience produced understanding, and from understanding came da'at, knowledge that could be lived, transmitted, and transformed into wisdom. But in this age, even wisdom has been watered down into algorithms and ideologies. Second Esdras said it plain. For the world is divided into times, and the times into 10 parts, and the last part of them will be filled with everything that is not truth. Second Esdras 14 verses 10 and 11. As the age grows old, the quality of truth in the world declines. What's worse, we don't even notice. We think we're evolving, when in reality, we're just spinning deeper into confusion, feeding off shadow philosophies and emotional highs. But truth isn't found in emotional hype. It's found in covenantal alignment. Our ancestors, particularly the Israelites, had a method for truth seeking. The Torah wasn't just a book of laws. It was a blueprint for living in divine rhythm with the Most High. That rhythm didn't allow room for personal preferences to override divine principles. When the people tried to impose their opinions, whether it was Korah's rebellion or the golden calf, the result was always judgment, because the truth doesn't flex for feelings. In Torah, truth is not a matter of perspective. It's not a moving target. It's fixed, anchored, and eternal. In Hebrew, the word for truth is emet, aleph, mem, tav, the first, middle, and last letters of the Hebrew alphabet. That's not a coincidence. Truth encompasses the beginning, the middle, and the end. Truth isn't just something that sounds good in a moment. It has to be true from Genesis to Revelation, from thought to action, from word to manifestation. With our left, we have the symbol of oneness, the heavens and the beginning of all things. It points us back to Elohim as the origin and source of all truth. Mem represents water, wisdom, and the flow between what is hidden and what is revealed. It reminds us that truth is not static. It moves, flows, and sustains like living water. Tav symbolizes completion, covenant, and fulfillment. It is the mark or seal of heaven's purpose and the sign of enduring truth that stands the test of time. Together, these letters reveal that truth encompasses the beginning, the middle, and the end. It is not partial, situational, or based on fleeting emotions. It is whole, objective, and eternal. Emet teaches us that truth begins with Elohim, flows through the wisdom of the Torah, and is sealed in eternal purpose with embracing it. This is why Yeshua declared in Revelation 22, verse 13, I am the Aleph and the Tav, affirming that he is the embodiment of this full spectrum of truth. Now peep this. If you remove the Aleph from Emet, you're left with Met. which means death. Deep, huh? Because without Aleph, the symbol of Elohim, the Most High, truth dies. And what are we seeing now? A decaying and dying world because truth has been removed from its center. People are dying. Families are dying. Communities are dying. Countries are dying. The world is dying, all because people have abandoned the truth. But when truth is rooted in Elohim, it becomes life giving, transforming, and triumphant. But what revives truth? Revelation. Revelation is when heaven invades earth with clarity. It's when the Most High pulls back the veil and lets you see what's real, not just what's visible. The Torah is the foundation of all revelation. It isn't a cultural relic, it's the manifestation of eternal truth. It's the mirror that shows us who we are and who we are meant to be. Yeshua, the living Torah, said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. He didn't say, I have a truth or my truth is valid. He said, I am the truth. That's absolute. That's non negotiable. That's not relative. That's revelation. Even more, this is not a vague spiritual sentiment. It is a direct Torah centered claim. The way in Hebrew, derech, is deeply rooted in the Torah, as seen in Psalm 119:1. Blessed are the undefiled in Haderech, who walk in the Torah of Yah. Yeshua is the embodiment of the path, the narrow road of righteousness, Matthew 7:14, demonstrating what the walk on the way is to look like for us. He is also the truth and met, which Psalm 119:142 declares, your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is the truth. This passage affirms that Yeshua, as the truth, is inseparable from the Torah, which Psalm 119:142 identifies as the eternal standard of righteousness. It emphasizes that divine truth isn't relative or abstract. It is concretely revealed through the Torah and fully embodied in the Messiah and ultimately in us. And when Yeshua said he is the life, he was pointing back to Deuteronomy 32, verse 47, which says, for it is not a vain thing for you, because it is your life. And through this thing, you shall prolong your days in the land. Torah is our life. It's not optional, not theoretical, because it's what sustains us, revives us, and gives us purpose. So when Yeshua identifies himself as the way, the truth, and the life, he is affirming that he is the living Torah made flesh, John 1:14. His life is the embodiment of the written word, and his resurrection is the triumph of that truth over death. In him, truth is not abstract, it's triumphant. And when we align ourselves with that truth, when we allow the Torah to be inscribed on our hearts, we too undergo transfiguration, a transformation not just of belief, but of being. And we don't just follow truth, we become witnesses of it, bearing its light in a world that desperately needs to see what celestial, absolute truth looks like when lived. And if we're going to truly transfigure, if we're going to truly move from darkness into light, if we're going to respond to Yichah Or, then we must return to the source of truth. And guess what, family? This is doing something that none of us really wants to do. And that's dying to our own desires, opinions, biases, and relative truths. This is something that requires us to sacrifice our fragile perspectives on the altar of the certainty of heaven. That means that we have to be more active in our studying of Torah, not just reading it, but engaging it until it becomes our lens, our logic, and our language. In this spirit, the Transfiguration movement is about aligning every part of our being, mind, heart, body, and spirit, with the holy light of truth. It's about letting Torah be the tuning fork that corrects our internal frequency. It's about stepping out of emotionalism and stepping into revelation. It's about no longer settling for what's true for me and rising into what's eternally true for all of creation. As we draw near to a close with this article, I want to clearly state that it is my perception that truth is not merely something to be acknowledged intellectually, it is a force to be perceived with the spirit, embraced in the heart, and applied with conviction in everyday life. In a world saturated with illusions, misinformation, and emotionally driven narratives, the pursuit of truth demands courage, clarity, and discipline. To truly walk in truth, we must commit ourselves to a process that refines our perception, aligns our values with the word, and calls our actions into harmony with the eternal standard. What follows are clear, scripture rooted steps to help us move beyond opinion and into the realm of revelation, where truth isn't just known, it's lived. Here's some scriptural steps to identify, embrace, and become the truth. 1. Humble yourself before Yah. He has told you, O man, what is good. And what does Yah require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your Elohim? Micah 6 verse 8. Truth begins where pride ends. Humility then opens your heart to correction, revelation, and growth for you to become more readily available to both perceive and receive truth. 2. Search the scriptures daily. They were more noble in that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so. Acts 17:11. Make the Torah your anchor, not your opinions. Use it as a mirror and measuring stick for everything you believe and do. 3. Invite the Ruach HaKodesh to lead you. When the Spirit of truth comes, he will lead you into all truth. John 16:13. Pray for discernment and spiritual vision to recognize truth and distinguish it from the clever lies that sound good but destroy. Allow the Ruach to be your guide on the journey. 4. Confess and forsake the lie. He who covers his sins will not prosper, but whoever confesses and forsakes them will find mercy. Proverbs 28:13. Identify the areas in your life where lies have rooted themselves, whether from trauma, culture, or comfort, and pull them up by the root. 5. Practice the truth in love. Speak the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Messiah. Ephesians 4 verse 15. Let the truth shape not just what you say, but how you say it. Truth without love is brutality. Love without truth, that's betrayal. 6. Live it out daily. And you shall guard my statutes and my judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. I am Yah. Leviticus 18 verse 5. Truth must become your lifestyle, visible in your choices, relationships, finances, time, and identity. Let these be your steps to not just know the truth, but to become the living embodiment of it. This is the call of transfiguration, that truth isn't just a doctrine you repeat, but a light you reflect. And believe it or not, beloved reader, truth is not popular, neither is it marketable. And being about it certainly won't get you trending. But I will tell you what, it will unequivocally transform you. In this case, the saying becomes so true, I can show you better than I can tell you. So here's our challenge, people. Let's stop negotiating with lies. Let's stop trading celestial absolutes for cultural trends. Let's stop letting our traumas define our faith and perceptions of reality. Instead, let's start seeking truth with all our heart. Let's start confronting the parts of ourselves that prefer the lie. Let's start allowing the light to expose every corner of our being until what remains is holy, honest, and whole. And be encouraged, my friends. If you're reading this, it means there's already a spark within you yearning for the truth. Know that you're not alone in this journey, and neither are you powerless against deception. Truth is not hidden from you, it's calling to you. The Most High has given us the tools, the map, and the power to live in truth and to be transformed by it. You don't have to live fractured, confused, or in compromise. The same Torah that formed the heavens and called light into darkness is still available to reshape your life. All you have to do is return teshuvah and allow truth to sit firmly in the throne of your heart. as it is written, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John 8, verse 32. Let the truth reign. Let truth cut. Let truth cleanse. Let truth triumph. Let truth transfigure. Selah.